Do you think Bitcoin will be disruptive in that way? I mean, now it's a speculative currency. Will it be something that will be what normal consumers will use and will disrupt the banking industry?
My opinion of Bitcoin is that, I think Bitcoin is probably a good thing, but it's essentially, its main thing will be, I mean, this probably will get quoted here and there, but I think it's primarily going to be a means of doing illegal transactions. But that's not necessarily entirely bad, because some things maybe shouldn't be illegal. But
the combination of Silk Road and Bitcoin will save us?
Well, it will be useful for legal and illegal transactions. Otherwise, it would have no value as a use for a legal transaction, because you have to have a legal to illegal bridge. Yeah. I don't own any Bitcoin.
In fact, one can pay for a tour on Virgin Galactic up to the moon with Bitcoin. I think the Winklevoss twins have said that they would do exactly that. Do you think this is a currency that's really going to work eventually?
Well, I think it is working, and there will be other currencies like it that may be even better. But in the meantime, there's a big industry around Bitcoin, and people have made fortunes out of Bitcoin. Some people have lost money out of Bitcoin.
It's volatile. It's volatile.
Yeah, but it is quite volatile. But when in volatility, people can make money out of volatile situations.
Why was it important for you to give it sort of that stamp of approval, that endorsement, by saying to the Winklevoss twins, yes, you can pay for the ride with Bitcoin?
Because I'm not foolish. I mean, if people have got lots of Bitcoins and they want to go to space, I'd much rather they spent that money on our spaceship. Whether I keep it in Bitcoins is another matter. But I'd much rather they spent that money on a Virgin Galactic spaceship than on, Elon will be sending people to space one day on Elon's spaceship. So we'll grab the money while it's there.
Elon versus.
Guys, how can we get Elon Musk to get involved in Bitcoin? There's a herd mentality that happens whenever someone like Elon Musk gets involved in Bitcoin. Obviously, because people value his opinion, and obviously because the big billionaires, big institutions will also get involved. And the biggest issue comes in. Is that companies like Elon Musk's Tesla and Apple are sitting on huge amounts of cash. And obviously we know that the value of money is devaluing. And so something like Bitcoin would be a good store of value. And this guy, Michael Saylor, has bought billions of Bitcoin. Now, obviously, huge institutions getting involved shove Bitcoin up. And I love this meme Elon put on his Twitter. You can go check it out. It's of this girl who's been, it's just, it's a very inappropriate photo, but it's of him considering getting involved in Bitcoin. And so the biggest solution of companies holding lots of cash is that they put their money in Bitcoin as a store of value. And this report is like, listen, cash is stable, Bitcoin is volatile, and Bitcoin has these huge drawdowns, and it's so it's very volatile, even though it's valuable. And this guy, Michael Saylor, brings up an important point, which is that it's a great store of value and it's a safe haven. Safe havens are like gold and the US dollar. Those are the two, and the yen as well. Those are like the traditional safe havens. So Bitcoin right now, like he's saying, is that I would think that 23,000 is a high price to get involved, but clearly he's saying no. It's becoming less volatile, it's becoming safer, and this is just the beginning. That's just Michael Saylor's opinion. And he's saying he didn't even know what Bitcoin was. and how things have changed since March, which is this huge economic crisis we've had. And so he's saying, listen, we don't know how our 2021 is going to look like. And best we can tell is that there's still going to be COVID, there's still going to be huge issues within the financial markets. And so he's saying, listen, Bitcoin is an alternative. And he thinks it's the best safe haven, better than gold. It's better than the US dollar. And the more people we can get involved, which is like just the big institutions, big billionaires, that will see Bitcoin development and cryptocurrency development and drive the price up. And so the issue is, how can a safe haven move from like 23,000 to 3,000 overnight? Gold doesn't have that volatility. Whereas with a safe haven like gold, you can get in at the beginning of the year and you can hold for the rest of the year without these huge drawdowns that we see with Bitcoin. And he's saying he knows institutional people getting involved. I didn't even know this, that like now institutions are now getting involved, even though they're out here telling us don't get involved. Listen, I'm just a commentator who's just interested in to see what's going to happen. And he says, like, listen, cryptocurrency, Bitcoin is not going anywhere. And it's like the digital gold. It has all the benefits of gold, but you can't make any more of it. Gold, you can keep mining, and there's gonna be a time where there's always gonna be gold, is what he's trying to say. Whereas the demand of cryptocurrency is driven by the finite amount of cryptocurrency and the halving of Bitcoin. I wonder how much he's made off of Bitcoin. But he says he's made more than 500 million. He's made more than 500 million in Bitcoin for his institutional investors. Now he's being asked, listen, doesn't that take away from your value of being an analyst if you just park your money into Bitcoin and then you make huge returns? Are you still even an analyst? Are you even still a fund if all you do is just park money in in Bitcoin? And he's like, listen, as long as you're making good returns, and I agree with him. This brings in also the question of like everyone who says Bitcoin is a bubble, which is obviously my question when I ask and I say, hey guys, isn't Bitcoin just a bubble? And it keeps just pushing up and appreciating by like 150, 200% a year. Is this not a bubble? Is this not a bubble? And then money is money. You can argue. You can argue and just say, listen, even if it's a bubble, what do you care? If people make money, then they're making money. Is that not the most important thing? Which is that if people get involved, they make their money, they leave. I just actually saw a testimony of this guy who worked in a hotel, and he took out a loan of like 10,000. He invested into cryptos, and then I think he made over 20 million, and he took out all his money, and his life is good. So obviously, there's cases of things like that, of people who made it big and who've gotten out before the bubble, even if there is a bubble. That's the biggest issue, I think, which is the bubble-like aspect of Bitcoin. That's the biggest issue. I don't know if he's gonna convince Elon to get involved in Bitcoin. I highly doubt that's gonna happen. But it's exciting to see whether Elon will get involved, whether he'll create his own crypto, whether he's gonna I don't know, develop some platform, some financial platform, or I don't know. It's interesting to see. Would it not also be interesting to see if like Teslas could actually be bought by cryptocurrencies? That's also an interesting position to take. As of yet, we're just waiting to see. I'm just really curious, and there's a lot of things going on in Bitcoin and crypto space, which is now most people are knowing about it. A lot of people are getting involved. Even people like Jamie Dimon who are, who hated it. People, I don't know if like you'll ever convince the likes of Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger to get involved. But people are like Elon. I think if you can address all his concerns, I'm pretty sure you'll see more billionaires getting involved. Like this guy Michael Saylor. It would be interesting to see if someone like Elon Musk would get involved. It's really, really an interesting space. I'm just really curious. I'm just a bystander who's curious in all of this going on. And crowd one is quiet. So, usually I'm on crowd one's case, but since crowd one is quiet, I don't have much to do besides commenting on the interesting stuff which is going on, which is right now, which is Elon and Bitcoin. The reverse would be if like Elon completely hates Bitcoin and everything about it, and he's like anti Bitcoin, and that like drives price down and gets institutions to be shorting it. That's the biggest issue I think would be really, really interesting to see which position he takes.